Welcome back. We are underneath the floor, at the bottom of the great shaft. First thing we find here is another one of Yisha's journals. Here we see the Dunny Cavern, and Yisha, and someone else whom we don't know.
Home was far behind. I was no longer a child. I journeyed deep, deep within myself, deep within the earth, down to the Dunny Cavern. I was alone for a time as I consumed my heritage, breathing deep the air of the cavern and the knowledge of my people. But the desire for companionship drove me mad. I engaged a Cenomar as my confidant, and a treadfish in the harbor became my younger brother. I spoke to them as family, and they answered. I swear, they answered. Then my mind took a final step into madness when I walked into the library on Agura and saw an old Dunny man on the floor below me. Now I was imagining people to ease my loneliness. But he was no mirage. His name was Callum, and he was a Dunny writer of ages. Trust did not come easily. There was conflict between us, between his ancient rules of Dunny that I did not respect, and my creativity, which he feared. We fought and feared and battled and screamed until exhausted. We began to learn from each other. We learned of the power of both, just as father and mother had done. So I learned to write with all the skills that the Dunny had known, beyond what my parents had taught me, for their lessons were given by a flawed instructor and by their own trial and error. I learned to write from a master, an opportunity father was never given. Callum's abilities were breathtaking. He knew all the Dunny knew when Dunny fell. But I taught as well as learned. There were things that the Dunny were forbidden to write, words they feared, concepts they shunned, rules and boxes. I had no cultural fear of such things, so I dug deeper, asking questions that Callum could not answer. And together, we sought answers. That is how we learned of the Barrow and the tablet. I learned of its power. We grew in knowledge and strength, and Callum became one of my dearest friends. I began to think that it was he who would be the grower. But evil will find you, even in the depths of the earth. And Callum was murdered.
Okay, so the guy on the front is actually Callum. And Yisha describes how she was taught by him and how they found out about the Barrow, apparently. She also called her own parents' teachings flawed, which is not that strange. I mean, both Atreus and Catherine were taught in the art by Gen, and we know that he didn't really know what he was doing. And they were able to expand their own knowledge by trial and error. That's actually what most of the ages you find in the original Myst are about. If you read the journals about them in the library on Myst, you can see Atreus describing experiments that he did with the art and trying to see their results on the ages. There's also a button here, which you might be able to guess. Brings the floor back down. Which is nice, I suppose. And there's a tunnel. Let's check out the tunnel before this floor crushes us. Actually, it won't crush us, but anyway. There's some holes in the ceiling up here. It seems that this one is a little bit different than the others. It contains some sort of metallic rings. You can see the others don't have that. At the end of the tunnel is a bunch of pipes, which I suppose are connected to that machine we turned on earlier. They look similar. And there is a lever here, which turns on a fan. So I guess this drives the air from the ventilation system and sends it up there, which, based on Asher's description earlier, is probably in the Dunny tunnels. Oh, and look at that. It seems that the one different hole we just noticed has now lowered a ladder. Well, let's see where that takes us. It takes us into another tunnel, much like the ones we've seen before. And on this side there's a door, which we've actually already seen, although from the other side. But from this side we can open it. And we get back here. It appears that there's no way to open this door from this side, meaning that the convoluted way to get into the tunnel we just used is the only way, unless somebody lets you in from the other side. Again, I guess that this is a security feature, because the Dunny were really big on making sure that nobody would be able to invade them using these tunnels. And having a door that can't be opened in an obvious way would slow down any invading army. It also makes sure that you turn on the ventilation system before you can get through here. Otherwise you might suffocate in the tunnels, which also not very nice. And there's another piece of Yisha's journal here. This one has Yisha on the cover, surrounded by some Barrow, I think.
Power is a gift. Power is a curse. I learned of the fearsome power I wield on that day. The day of Callum's death. In a fit of rage, I destroyed the murderer, and I destroyed my innocence. And again, I learned that most things cannot be returned to how they were. And my power continued to grow, even as I began to see that the prophecies of the grower might speak of me. My destiny began to be fulfilled. But there was still more. The least, abused, mistreated, misunderstood, ignored. They were mocked and scorned, and their hearts still show their pain. But they continue to serve. Such power they have, and yet they serve. They treated me with kindness, and I learned from them. They respected what I was becoming. With them, I learned new laws, new rules, and new powers. I used the powers to care for a tree to come, and the tablet allowed me to grow beyond Tiana, beyond father and mother, beyond Denis, beyond Callum. The tablet held them. The tablet chained them. The tablet held me. The tablet empowered me. I watched with them. I waited with them. I learned with them. I called them from captivity and grew while they gathered. Together we became both weak and strong. And then my time came. My time to take the tablet. My time to choose. I was ready. I felt the pull of holding it, of channeling and releasing the full power of the Barrow. I would right the wrongs. I would set things the way they should be. I would choose well. I could not fail. I am the grower. I was so sure, so strong, so wise. But I didn't open myself and listen to the Maker. The noise of me drowned his quiet voice. And I failed. Failed to see anything beyond myself and what was obvious. And pain came quickly when I realized what I had done. The tablet returned and the Barrow continued to serve. The pain still burns me. But the powerful Barrow simply wait and serve. Pain is often how we learn. But it is not for us to give. We are not the teachers. We must not abuse them. We must not abuse the Barrow.
Okay. Well, we are pretty much out of time, so I will continue in the next video.